Hi folks, Nine Toe Nelson here. We're out on a gorgeous day. Spring leaves are starting to poke their little heads out of their dormant spaces. And I decided to take a little trip down a road that I used to ride frequently back in the day. It's been a while. I'm sure not much has changed for it. I hope not. And if that's the case, it'll be nice. Scenic, a little twisty, and a little off the beaten path. So I'll share that with you today. And while I do so, I'm going to discuss my opinions about motorcycle gear based on what I wear and why I wear it. I do think gear is important. I have found that it could have saved me in some cases and has saved me in others. And that's unfortunately how I learned the hard way. But it certainly is something that everyone should consider if they're going to ride a motorcycle. Motorcycling is inherently dangerous, and you should consider reducing the potentials in your advantage every chance you get. One way of doing that is wearing not just gear, but appropriate gear, proper gear. And that should always start off with the thing that's going to save your control center, your helmet. Helmets are important, and when you discover why the hard way, let's hope that you'll be able to survive that and get yourself a helmet to protect you for the next time around. I have ridden without a helmet early on in my riding career, and even at a point when I had a helmet, I once removed it because I thought that's just a short little ride, not going to be doing anything in particular special. And I was wrong. I found a little road that I thought was going to be fun. Didn't have the experience, didn't have the wherewithal to try and ride it a little safer than I did, and I ended up coming off the bike. Thankfully, when I did hit my head, it was when I landed on some relatively soft dirt, and I ended up with no problems as a result. But considering the path I traveled to get to that dirt, I'm lucky that I didn't strike my head on a curb or on the pavement, because it could have easily happened. So helmets, many options out there. You want to get what works for you, and you want to get what you can afford. And you can do both if you put your time into a little bit of research. Find a helmet that is certified by one of the entities out there, such as DOT or the ECU. You definitely want to make sure that you are considering those, because those helmets are tested, and there's argument for which is better, which offers the best testing, which offers the most reliable process, so on. You can make your decision on which works best for you, but you most certainly should find something that's going to have some sort of a reputation, something that's going to give you a sense of confidence and comfort. Not some Amazon super cheap, made of hard plastic and maybe a bit of styrofoam and cardboard. Those things won't do much for you if you have a situation where you unfortunately require that helmet or would benefit from it. And when it comes to helmets, there are different designs. You've got full face, 3/4, modular, half helmets, or little skull caps. I'm not going to tell you what you have to get, but I feel the more coverage you have, the better off you are. I have worn full face and 3/4 my entire riding career, and I will continue with that. I'm most comfortable with that, not just for the protection of impact, but protection from wind and weather, cold, rain, it's dust even. It's certainly more fun to have a helmet on that protects you from those things than to not. Again, from experience, having ridden without a helmet and having the wind whipping in my face and whipping up the dirt and the debris from the vehicles ahead of me, no fun. So when you make that decision, find your price bracket, be prepared. Less expensive helmets usually offer fewer comforts. They're usually louder. They are usually a little heavier, but the impact protection will be there, and that's what you get it for. Don't be afraid to get something that is you know, last year's model. You can find those from online retailers very easily. You can find those at your local shop if they sell gear directly to the consumer. It's something that can save you a few bucks, and you can get a better model because it's been reduced and now matches a price closer to the newer models, least expensive. And then make sure that your helmet fits you properly, comfortably. Those two things are two different factors. A helmet fitting you properly is going to be snug, not tight. You should feel a little pressure against your cheeks. You should feel that it's touching your skull all the way around. No loose spaces, no open gaps. That's going to be proper fit. Comfortable fit is, again, making sure you don't have any loose gaps. You don't have any spots that have an additional sense of pressure. Different helmet manufacturers make different shaped helmets because people have different shaped heads. Oval, square, round. Find what works for you, and you'll find that that brand will pretty well fit you regardless of the model in a consistent way. Some manufacturers do provide different options for different shaped heads. Look around, find that one, try them all on. You can look online to find out what they actually offer and what options you can get a hold of. It is worthwhile, and again, in my opinion, from my experiences, it is definitely important to consider. So let's move down from the head to the torso. Upper body, arms. It's a great idea to have some protection there because your skin is not impervious. A thin layer of fabric is not going to do you much. Riding around in a t-shirt, riding around in just any sort of you know, cotton or synthetic material that is meant to be worn as a single layer of shirt, or even doubling up on those things, isn't going to give you the coverage that you're going to need if you end up making contact with the ground. And contact with the ground can result in two things: impact in a direct manner, and or abrasion by sliding across that surface. You want to have protection for both. Having something that's got elbow pads, back impact protection, shoulders, going to be worth it. It's going to help save you. Again, I had that accident where I ended up getting off the bike and I was rolling. I didn't have the protection I needed. I was wearing short sleeves that day and jeans, and I ended up damaging my body. I have the scars on my knees, my elbows, and my shoulders to prove it. And they'll be there the rest of my life. Sure, it's a story, but it's a story I would have preferred to not have to share, to explain what happened. I should have been better prepared, and I should have performed better in that situation. So when it comes to the torso, in my opinion, leather is better. It's what I prefer, it's what I always wear. I have worn synthetics. I don't like the feel. I don't feel they're as durable. I have had minor accidents with both, and the synthetics tore. They were no longer good for at least aesthetics, and I felt that because they tore, they were compromised, and since those points were most likely the points to make contact again in the future, the protection they offered was almost non-existent. Leather, on the other hand, has proved to be durable for me. It has, at the worst, been scuffed, but the majority, over 90%, over 95%, if not more, of the material was still intact beneath it, and still would provide protection in the future. And it's easy to see the progression of that point of contact deteriorating, if it does, strictly because of the nature of leather. The underside that is not dyed presents itself, it's a different color, and it becomes pretty obvious. So you can keep an eye on its durability very easily. Check that out. So when it comes to material, I'll just state it now, I do believe leather is better. That is my opinion. You choose for yourself. There are different reasons to choose different materials. Leather is going to offer better wind protection, in my opinion. It is certainly something that will also offer protection from the cold, because when we're moving on our motorcycles, we get that wind chill effect. Temperatures feel about 15 to 20 degrees lower than they actually are to the exposed skin. You put on something leather, you'll notice the difference. It's not going to insulate you, but you put a layer underneath it. The leather will help protect you from the wind and help keep you warmer as a result. So moving down from there, actually let's go back. Looking at upper body, again, something that protects your arms all the way down to your wrists, not just a vest, not something to put patches on alone. You can patch up a jacket, you can put a vest over a jacket, wear something to protect your body that goes as far as it can, down to your wrists. And a lot of people argue, oh, it gets too hot if you're wearing something like that. You can easily find protective apparel that is going to cover you and offer you comfort, ventilation, zippers, vents, pockets that snap open, zip shut, whatever the case may be, that have mesh material within them and will allow the air to flow through. Definitely exists, definitely worthwhile. It's what I wear year-round. I put on an insulated layer underneath for the winter, get rid of that for the summer, open up all the vents, and I'm happy. So going down from there to the hands, same idea. Gloves, leather, textile, whatever you want to get, that covers your entire hand. I have had get-offs where my hands were scraped up. You look at a zillion YouTube videos of guys going down, and you watch, one of the first things that comes out is their hands to protect themselves from their fall, and if those hands aren't covered or covered well, there's going to be an injury. I like leather gloves. I like to have palm protection, additional slide protection in certain spots like the knuckles, the palm. They also offers ventilation, so you're not getting that sweaty, yucky feeling in there. And I also prefer a gauntlet style, something that covers the wrist, something that'll go over the jacket to offer, again, wind and abrasion protection. Not only that, it will offer protection from the sun and the elements. If you've ever been caught in the rain with exposed arms, any exposed segment of your body, it hurts. It's like getting bombarded with BBs. And it's part of the reason why people don't like to ride in the rain, in my opinion. If you don't have rain gear on, you can get by in a light rain with this stuff. It might be a little damp once you get home, but it dries out. It's not that big of a deal, and it certainly feels a lot better than riding without. Debris, other things, the sunburn. You know, this is, in my opinion, better than wearing sunscreen. I hate sunscreen. It's messy. People say it's actually not good for you. It's something you constantly have to replenish, purchase. Undue costs, in my opinion, when it comes to riding a motorcycle. So moving down from there, we have our legs. Same idea. Get yourself something that's going to protect all of your legs. Get yourself something that's going to have padding, CE approved padding in the hips, tailbone, the knees. If you go down, those are the points that are going to hit, and those points are the ones that can break easily in the way that you would end up tumbling. I have leather pants that are ventilated. They're perforated in the crotch and have an elastic behind the knees that offers a little ventilation, and it's great. You know, I'm not going to lie, I do get a little sweaty in the summer, but you know, that's going to happen anyway. And I would much rather have my skin protected in the long run and be a little sweaty than to lose the skin and not be able to sweat. So then moving down from there, we've got the ankles and the feet. Boots, riding boots, again, I feel are very important. Not only do they protect you, but they give you stability. If you've got a pair of Keds on, a pair of Jordans, Vans, I don't care what, slip-on sandals, who cares? Anything that isn't really made for the purpose of riding, you've got a surface that's going to be slippery if you put your foot down on sand, oil, gravel. And if you've got a heavy machine that you're trying to support, one of your feet give because of that, you're going to have a hard time saving yourself. But then, of course, the primary purpose of having that stuff is to go ahead and protect your feet and your ankles from impact and abrasion. And boots, something that goes up over your ankle, is going to be your best bet for that. A pair of high tops, which I have stated I have worn in the past, I'm really not going to cut it. A work boot can be sufficient as long as you have, again, the coverage that goes as far as it should. When it comes to the abrasion, it may be useful if it's a durable boot, but the problem with work boots designed for work is that they don't have a stiff sole, and they may have an excessively wide sole, which can make using your foot controls a little more difficult. Find yourself getting caught up on your brake pedal, on your gear selector, because you just can't splay your feet wide enough. Or you go to make a change with one of those and your sole gets in the way, doesn't allow you to get past it when you need to. Riding boots traditionally are going to be narrower. They're going to have a stiffer sole to give you support when you ride, because we are putting our feet on pegs, on narrow supports. They are going to be susceptible to being tired out more readily. They're going to be susceptible to pain because of the single section of your foot that pressure is being applied to. Now, these boots aren't made for walking, they're made for riding, so they're going to give you that additional support. Get off your bike and take a few steps to your destination, and you take your boots off and you're fine. Stretch out your toes. But while you're on the bike, give yourself something that's going to give you long distance comfort as well as coverage. So those are my thoughts on gear. You can decide which is best for you, not only in the type as well as the manufacturer, the brand, the style. It's all available, doesn't matter what you ride. So with that said, and with that guy riding past me in his fringe leather jacket, I will say as I always say, ride safe, ride smart, and have fun. Bye.